Nice for everyone to come. Thank you so much. And I welcome you to Breaking Bread. And Breaking Bread today is going to be about relational intelligence, which is something that you all know I teach everywhere all the time, never without it. Constantly have it in my back pocket, my front pocket, um, and the pocket that lives here in my heart. So, um, and it is emergent very much from contact improvisation. So it is, I could call it relational intelligence, lessons I've learned from contact improvisation. Um, we are recording, and so you should know that this will be recorded, and I invite you all to participate and add in or, raise your hand if there's any comment you want to make, question you want to ask. I will chatter for about 20 minutes, half an hour, as I'm given to doing. And then I will open the floor up and invite even more. So do not be afraid of penetrating my 20 minutes, half hour. Go straight for it if something comes up and touches you. And I know we are going to keep admitting people here. So um, lovely to see everyone. Um, great. Johanna. Nice to see you. Johanna, are you in Port Townsend?
Yes, but currently in
Johanna,
San Diego.
you pronounce your name Johanna, and I go immediately into Johanna
Johanna.
because there's a whole bunch of Europeans here.
Oh, yay. Okay. Well, yeah, Johanna.
Okay, great. Lovely to see you. I'm really glad you're here. I think about you from time to time, so I want to have a conversation with you sometime.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. Um, as I teach, um, I have all of these relationships, and sometimes I think I'm really great and really get the point across. Great being get the point across. Sometimes I think I blow it. And the last time I was with you, Johanna, I think I blew it. So I that's what the conversation wants to be about.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for the context.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We can
Um,
laugh about it now.
exactly. Okay, so we turn to relational intelligence and what that means. To do that, I want to give you a little bit of context. I was before COVID happened. As I run around the world teaching my work and how I kind of the depth of it or the orientation of it, teaching contact improvisation, teaching dance ensemble work shifts. So I have all of these varied orientations, one being relational intelligence. And before COVID hit, I was starting to consider relational intelligence and what that meant, and had given a talk and had given classes by that name. And then one day, COVID happened and all the touring stopped. And here I was stuck in Seattle in my lovely apartment, but all by myself. Now, I wanted to keep teaching. And I thought about it and I thought about, well, how do I survive this situation in which there is no going outside? And even if there is going outside with great care. Um, and what I realized was that relational intelligence was going to help me survive this thing. me personally, my own heart, my own being, and that I was never without it, but that there were a whole bunch of people who, like me, were stuck in their apartments and who might also um, benefit from practices of relational intelligence. And definitely, it's not just those of us stuck alone, because relational intelligence is about all of us, all the time, everywhere, um, doing anything. So, but particularly during those moments, people had the time to stop and consider and think about what they were doing and how they were doing it. So I started teaching relational intelligence, and it initially started there. And now we were no longer in duets. We were of human duets. Now, if there was a duet, it was a duet with me, between me and my bowl of oatmeal, right? And so that is where it began during COVID. And where it began was with the non-human, the more than human world that we also always are as I consume this oatmeal. And not just in that we consume, although if you were to listen to Thich Nhat Hanh, he uses the term consume, and I really like that. But also we consume, or we are so profoundly a part of whatever it is we are attending to, that that could be understood as a kind of consumption, in that it becomes us. And it becomes us not simply at the moment of attending, but it becomes us in in ways of living as us. So let's get inside what that means. Let me go inside and unpack that. Let me take it to dancing. Here we are, we're doing a contact duet. You're doing a contact duet. You're deep inside it. And as if you've worked with me, you know that I sometimes teach giving your partner 1% of your weight. Anybody done that with me before? Give your partner 1% of your weight. And if you do that, then wherever your partner goes, you will go. Right? Why will you go there? You'll go there because your partner moves their feet or your partner shifts their weight. And your 1%, even 1% of your balance, has control over the action of your balance if you choose it. Which means that with your partner hardly even knowing that you're giving them weight, maybe they don't know, because 1% is terribly light. It's almost nothing. You are moving seamlessly with your partner. Seamless being an important point. Seamless meaning your partner's feet have become your feet. Seamless meaning you're now no longer an isolated human. You're now more than a single being. You're a being that is inclusive of your partner. And in that act, more than just the movement of their skeletal form becomes available to you. And if you so choose, You can start to recognize that where your partner is, there you are, and that your partner now has become a part of you. The you that you are as a multiple being is you and your partner. When you start to open this up to realize how simple that is, then you understand that when I pick up this bowl of oatmeal, I am also seamlessly part of this bowl of oatmeal in a very functional way. Functional. Now I have a choice of where my heart goes. My right hand cares about my left hand without even knowing it. My right hand doesn't have to say, I care about my left hand to care about the left hand. It is me. I have identified as my left hand. My right hand identifies as a left hand as well. It is a larger form. It is this small form and it is a larger form. Always. We are never just single beings. If I lost my left arm, my left hand, my right hand would suffer loss. It would not just functionally suffer loss. This whole being that it also always is, the feeling being that it also always is, would suffer loss. And thus I can say my right hand suffers loss because every time it goes to look for it, it's not there. I notice the affection my right foot has for my left foot, especially when I'm in bed. But it seeks my left foot out. My left foot seeks my right foot out. They touch each other with care. I notice the care. There's love there without them having to say, I love you, without having to do the act of loving. Because the act is already done. It's built into the system. The act of loving is already present, right? When I dance with somebody, a partner, that is how I dance. I am already the partner. I identify as the larger form that I also can recognize I am. I need to recognize it. Really, I mean, I don't really need to recognize it, but when I recognize it, I start to have relational intelligence. When I pick up my bowl of oatmeal, now I am Nita bowl of oatmeal. If I act with relational intelligence, I have care. The care my right hand has with my left hand is extending into the bowl of oatmeal. Now, as I put this bowl of oatmeal, and the bowl of oatmeal feels good for that. That feels good. Care feels good. So I go, being. I lend beingness to this bowl of oatmeal. It gets to be. Being. Bowl of oatmeal. I put it down. And its vitality is present with me. It is not being as I am being, it's being in bowl of oatmeal being. And yet, being is brilliant and vital and has it calls me to it. It has that power to call me. Why? Because Nita holds herself lightly. I invite bowl of oatmeal to speak, not in the way of not having eating discipline, because it's so much more than just food. It's a bowl, a container. And so when COVID hit and all these people were all alone, what do you think I thought? I thought, I'm not alone. I am surrounded with being. And I bring being to this brilliant, wonderful place of my home. And I bring vitality to everything here. I bring by vitality by recognizing vitality, by bringing my attention. Where my attention goes, I touch. And touch is such an important skill to understand and act with touch, the skills of touch. When you touch the bowl of oatmeal, you recognize the bringing of something that is, you bring recognition there through your touch. Ha, I recognize. Now, how do you feel when you get recognized? What happens to you? Yeah, me too. Hi. It's so important. Did you have something you wanted to say, or did you? Yeah, great. When you get recognized, there's a boost, isn't there? Babies will not thrive if they do not get attention. So some places you walk into and the place is alive, vital, brilliant. Some places you walk into and the place is dead. Yeah. I once went into a studio in Switzerland, in Bern, and the studio was under a bridge under a freeway bridge. It was in fact part of the structure that the studio it was in fact a building built within that structure. So it was all concrete. And it was, of course, gray. And the studio itself had very little motion. I mean, the building had no motion. It had no care. It was the most dead place I'd ever been. And so I couldn't begin teaching. We had to bring the place to life before we could teach, before I felt I could teach. And part of that was nobody had taken the time to notice. They had so completely dismissed the structure because it was all human. It wasn't like a wood building, which has its own previous vitality that it brings to the place and the moment and the people. And you feel it even though you don't know you feel it. So relational intelligence really, even though it began with contact improvisation and the teaching of contact improvisation, it very quickly went into the more than human world. and stayed there for quite a while throughout COVID. And Clementine came to it. How many of you came to Relational Intelligence? And I'm missing Gretchen, who was there every day, always. She is usually here, and I don't know why she's not. I hope she is well. She said she would be here, so I really am a bit surprised. And Clementine, I know that you are in touch with her. Clementine and Gretchen, ever since COVID and attending um, relational intelligence, and we would have relational intelligence, and then we'd have another meeting in the week, each week, to unpack what we had done during relational intelligence, and we called it the unpack class. And Clementine and Gretchen were always there. And ever since, and that was what, 21, 22, 23, and you have been meeting with Gretchen weekly since then. And doing things that we did. And what do you do there? Tell us about that.
Um, yeah, we practice some scores that we have done with you,
Mm.
especially the continuous action dance.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing vitality to the place is definitely part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's even if the score are simple, we always find out something new. It's really
Isn't it
incredible.
amazing
Yeah.
that to get to the place which you have gotten to, which is to understand even the simplest score, unfolds and unfolds and unfolds and unfolds.
It's like the score itself is alive. It has a vitality to it, no?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I have I in my language right now I'm working with choreographers who are composing dance films. And so I'm asking them, collect your materials. And they all go into this massive conceptual space. Oh, this dance is going to be about this and about that, and it has this and it has that. The conceptual space. But the dance has to come out of that conceptual space into a practical space. So I will ask, what of these conceptual materials will show up in the dance? Which one, what are the concepts here that you want to, that will, like circular. Circular will show up in the dance. It's a concept that will show up in the dance. The notion of circularity, something that has no beginning and no end. But circularity cannot be a dance, because the dance has to have a beginning and it has to have an end. It's a great concept. The concept circularity is material. It's something that will show up in the dance. It is, and for functional reasons, we can call it an object. It's an object of mind. The concept circularity. But so might be a balloon. That's an object. A balloon can be a tactile object, whereas and a perceptual, something we can perceive, a perceptual object. Circularity can be a conceptual object. So when we start to work in building dances, we work with working with objects, all kinds of objects. and how those are the objects that become the dance. Also, so when we're dancing and we have a object of mind, an idea, noticing that that idea is an object that we can work with. But it has to become practical in order to do that. We have to learn to practice it. And any object you can do lots and 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 lots of things with. Because they have vitality. They, you know, a balloon, it collapses. A balloon pops. A balloon floats. A balloon squeezes. A balloon makes sound. A balloon is the shape of a head, and there you have two heads. You can draw a face on it. A balloon bobs. A balloon follows you. A balloon, you know, you can go on and on and on and on and on with all the things that balloons can do and what they can be, especially when you add balloons together. Can you imagine walking on a floor that is all balloons and trying, and what would happen if you had to step on balloons or find the way between balloons? So balloons play in this realm where they start to become concepts, but they also are practical. And you can play with that as well. So, and concepts do exactly the same thing. But you have to learn to play with the vitality of what objects are. And to that degree, a concept can be an object that you play with. You play with it. Like a balloon, you play with it. And thus things keep unpacking amazingly. And when you take a balloon, or a concept, excuse me, when you take a concept and you put it into play, now you're in relations with that object. Now you have created a relational practice with an object of thought. And that relational object of thought changes you. You have become, in part, yourself and the object of thought. Again, you're more than one. Objects of thought shape us. And here we're going back into relational intelligence. And let me check my time because I'm a talker. Okay, I've gone, 35 minutes into this. I'm going to finish with this thought, and then we're going to go open up. Okay? So this objects of thought shape us. So when I ask you, what size are you? You can say, oh, I'm this size. But we know that when you walk into a cave, or if you walk into a hall, or a ballroom, you will not be that same size. You will be changing your size. If you walk into a very small space, you will feel large. When you walk into a very large space, you will feel small. But you may counter it with walking into a small space. You may become small. Walking into a large space, you may become large. If you're Nita, you do those things. I never stay the same size. Because within relational intelligence, the dance I do physically, if I'm doing a contact duet, I do attentionally with the world as Nita. So Nita is an unstable body. I identify with my attention and I bring my touch where my attention goes. I touch the full size of Nita. Nita is the size of touch. So when I touch this bowl of oatmeal, I become a size that is inclusive, definitely, of this bowl of oatmeal. And I might become even larger. If I'm there standing in front of Minu, I will become the size of Nita Minu. And I will enfold Minu, not just Minu, but the space of Minu. And this maybe even the space Minu and Nita are. The place we are may also be a big part of it. Because there is care. Where Nita goes, there is care. When you identify as, you bring your care. You can't help it. You do not identify as something you do not want. And that is why Thich Nhat Hanh calls it consumption. But he would also note that if you're watching a crappy, horrible, killer TV show, you are also consuming that TV show. And that TV show is slipping inside. So identifying as is a tricky thing. Identity is a tricky thing. And that's for another conversation. Or for right now, because we're opening up the field. Anybody can talk. What do you notice? What do you have to say? I'm here to listen. Clementine is doing her job, preparing the space, I can see. I know where you are. I have been there before. Yes? I think I know that hall. Okay. Yeah. We did dances on the wall in that hall. Yes. Great. Okay. Please unmute and anybody can speak.
I actually was completely into what you were saying. So I have so many connections that are happening, and I love to experience this different level of perception. But I don't know, I was just really into hearing. It was a very beautiful process into
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Relational intelligence, important. It's an important subject. And it is a practice. It is not just, we have to counter culture when we choose to be relationally intelligent, because culture really supports our being relationally simple. And when simple is not the word. Well, simple in the sense, in English, we sometimes, it doesn't come up so much now, but when somebody is not intelligent, we used to call them simple. It was a way of saying simple-minded, meaning not seeing the complexities of the situation, not having that capacity. So I would say that culture keeps us simple-minded in a sense. Although simple, when things are simple, they can be beautiful. The continuous action dance, I would call a very simple score, but it unfolds into massive complexity.
I wanted to share something what you're saying, Nita, with this environment and how the environment itself has a vitality.
Yeah.
I've been right now traveling through a new
Yes.
place. I've never been here before. I'm in Brazil, and I'm intentionally like kind of putting out my antennas to feel what a place is about before I kind of come out all full like myself. And I'm noticing that I can be myself anywhere, and that there is the dialogue kind of reflects something or influences me. And then in certain places, I have to maybe try a little bit more or have to have more effort into that. And in some places, something else is easier. So I feel that when I'm especially now traveling, that it's this intention to feel the space and see the space and kind of understand the space before I put myself and perhaps my habits or my ways into it. Um, and it's not that easy for me to in a dance spaces. Yesterday it was just a jam here. And something I feel that entering contact spaces, there's a lot of what I'm already bringing in just because of this, like it's kind of continuation. It's never stopping. So that's for me very interesting. These two differences, how I can pause and give the space to express
Yeah.
itself. And sometimes I just jump in because there's perhaps so much vitality already in me, or at least in this contact dance space. So it's I'm like much more keen on right away forming in myself. Yeah. So this came up.
Very good observing. Where in Brazil are you, may I ask?
I'm in Bahia, and right now I'm in a
Okay.
little city called Capao, or
Okay.
town.
Okay, so I have not been to Bahia, but I've been all over Brazil, and it's very, very alive. It just is, for a European, it's profoundly alive. Europe does not have that level of vitality that exists in Brazil. In Brazil, even the walls grow, you know? So, so it's and the dancing in Brazil is different as a result of that, you know, the people are different. They live where there's a lot of movement, a lot of action all the time, even when they sleep. So, noticing how you go small when you enter a Brazilian space. And that's a wise thing to do because you don't know what's growing there. Yeah. And you have to take time. And all I would do would be to trust your body humongously because your body knows. Your body is knowing on levels that are so different. And that's another aspect of relational intelligence. But allowing the body to know. Yeah, good. Well, have fun. Have a ball. Where else will you go in Brazil?
Actually, just here.
Okay.
I'm kind of a traveler who stays longer in one place because exactly this. I wish to feel it and I wish to kind of understand a little bit.
Fabulous. Well, I don't think I know anybody in Bahia, but maybe somebody is there that does. Yeah.
I keep my ears open.
Great. Rebecca, hello. It's nice to see you.
Hello. Sorry, I'm walking and I'm not. I was just listening, and I need to leave soon. But I wanted to step in about Bahia because my family lives there, and they have a little center. And at the moment, they're doing some work with a forest bathing guy from Italy who is doing some work in the forest. So and I totally feel what you said about the vitality in Bahia and the rhythm in the people, in the children. And when I dance there, there's I always come back to Europe with like a vibe that is just a field that is expanded, because the nature is so alive that you can't escape it. It's just like takes you over, and you like become part of it. You don't diminish, you become part of it, and that's the beauty I've experienced there.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so for who is in Bahia, if you wish, you can check Mogi Quixaba Salvento is a place. I can put in chat the name, and they're doing some cultural activities in the forest. So I'll put the name.
Yeah, put it in chat. Put it in chat and she can pick it up.
Yeah.
Great.
And then
Okay.
I'll say bye, because I'm actually outdoors, and listen, because it's an amazing conversation as usual. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Rebecca. Anybody else want to say anything about relational intelligence and your practice with it?
I'm enjoying enjoying how much Thich Nhat Hanh comes up in your ideas and your talks, and I'm just reminded. I was sitting with some other Zen teachers on Whidbey Island, right between us.
Yeah.
And yeah, they've really boiled down their pedagogy, but they're really working with people to notice when the mind forms objects and to go energetically deep into the body as a way to, as Nita Little might say, enable the unnaming to kind of like the deeper you go into the body, the more easily you can go into the unnaming practice. Yeah, so I've just been enjoying kind of dancing, cooking, making coffee, dancing with these ideas that you're sharing. And yeah.
And sometimes when you're an artist, an object of mind, an object of thought becomes a toy. And it's okay for it to become a toy because you're creating with it. Right? Just like it's okay for a Buddhist to play soccer. You know, that they have a toy and it's called a ball, a soccer ball.
Yeah, no, it's a real con right there. Always playing with children.
And you can take an object of thought and play with it the way you play with a toy. So as long as you know that you, and part of that is taking it apart. But unnaming will take you to a deeper level of understanding.
I think
Thank
within
you for raising that, Samuel. That's so great. I love it.
Within that, I'm sort of reminded of maybe because I'm just seeing all these Cascadia people, and George I met in Bellingham, but I'm reminded of Carmen is always telling me to get into my bones and feel my bones and go spend some time feeling your bones and getting in there, and yeah, and you talk about the shared skeleton conception. Yeah, that's just a fascinating investigation I'm kind of dancing around with in a lot of Zen practice. You're going into your own bones, you're going into your own form, right? But this is, a space where we're going into bones more than just the bones that are like in this skinosphere. So
yeah, I kind of feel, because what's interesting to me is that I didn't start investigating Thich Nhat Hanh until after I had all of this stuff in place, in a sense. And then I ran into Thich Nhat Hanh and I loved his language. And I love the fact that he was basically saying very, very similar things with different words, different language. And have felt, and certainly I have been a Buddhist in a conceptual Buddhist in ways, not a practicing Buddhist. Occasionally in practice, but not much. Since the early contact, since the beginning of contact. So Buddhist philosophy has been interesting to me. But so was Hindu philosophy. So, other things. There were Eastern thought. But the thing that I have come to is that sitting practice, the going within, which brings you a way out, in to go out. And contact is a way of going out to go in. So we learn in this relational practice what is there, and it leads us to a very similar place. So I was practicing out to go in, and I think of Buddhism and Thich Nhat Hanh's Buddhism in particular, in to go out. And I think the value of in to go out is very wonderful. And I think you can be spiritually, in the sense of not as religious spirituality, but as awake and exploring and questioning what is present, awakening to what is present by this practice of out to go in that we all are engaged in. As movers, moving practice is very important. Relational practice is very important. Everything is relational, whether it's within or whether it's without. That boundary of the flesh is very, very thin and disappears under circumstances. Anybody else? That was great. Thank you, Samuel.
Thank you.
You also are in Port Townsend.
Heck yeah, we got two of us. I think we got two of us. Yeah.
Yeah, Johanna's there.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Sweet.
Nita, we have to go quite soon because we're starting a jam here in Vienna.
Yes.
Clementine and I both want to go to Brazil, by the way, now. Dip our bodies into that aliveness. Well, Nita, I mean, there is so much profundity, so much profoundness, like in every sentence. For me, what I really loved today, several things. Just this sense of meeting the other beings, and being inclusive of these other beings, objects, beings, and meeting their aliveness, and hence we are not alone. And it's something that I do a lot, all the time. But sometimes this negotiation between self and being a multiple is tricky sometimes.
And sometimes you have to be small. And you have to create boundaries. That happens, but not always. And in this era, we're very interested in practicing boundaries. And that makes sense because there's a lot of stuff happening that we don't want to consume, using Thich Nhat Hanh's language. And yet, if we don't also query and practice what it is to open to become relational, then we are uneducated in a sense. We have not gained the skills of being relational. And I think it's incredibly important to gain the skills of being relational. That way you care about the world around you. And we are in a place where people are practicing boundaries and they're becoming careless.
Yeah.
And that's not surprising to me. To be careful, one has to practice relations.
Thank you so much.
I love you. I love you so much, Minu.
Likewise.
And and I have to tell you that Rachel got in touch with me. So thank you for that.
Fabulous.
Care. They are in Vienna, I should tell you. So we have Vienna, Brazil, Port Townsend. Where are you, Jadi? Are you in Vienna too? Or in
No, I'm in Graz.
Graz? Great.
Yeah. It's like 2.5 hours from
Yes.
Vienna.
Eva, where are you?
I'm Prague.
You're in Prague. That's right, you told us. And George?
Vancouver.
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 And Rebecca is in Italy, I think. So we've got the world. At least this Western world we've got. It gets every once in a while we get somebody from the East, which is fabulous. Listen, you guys, I will not be here next in March because I will be in Asia at the end of March. So I will be, where will I be at that time? I think at the end of March, I will be somewhere between Seoul and Hong Kong. So yeah, I fly into with Leanne Kowalski. We fly into Shanghai on the 27th of March. I think we get there the 28th, and we do Shanghai, and then we go to Kyushu Island in Japan.
Yes.
And we have this amazing Japan visit because we go from there up to Kyoto. And then we go to Seoul and then to Hong Kong. So it's really exciting. I will see you in April. No, March, April, May. No, I'm wrong, guys. I think I'm in Japan. Nah, I don't know where the hell I am. Anyway. I will see you not in April, not at the end of March, not at the end of April. I will see you next Breaking Bread in June, end of June. Oh, no. I think I can do May. Sorry. I'm putting the spring together. It gets a lot, when you travel and you're all over the world, it gets to be a lot. So I think I am in May. In June, I think I also have a break so that I will be on the East Coast of the US in June. Anyway, thank you all for attending, for joining me. If you have things you want me to talk about, write to me and say, hey, do a Breaking Bread about this subject, and I will. It's a playground for me, right? It's a conceptual playground. Jadi, what's up?
I don't know. I would love to. Do you have 2 minutes for talking?
Sure.
I have a couple
do.
of things to ask. Okay.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Take care, everyone. My heart's with you. Bye.